guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all good. Does anyone remember this background? If you remember this background, or kind of this room in general, you've been around a long time. This is my very kind of old bedroom at my mum's house. I haven't filmed here for a very long time, but I'm home for the weekend. I guess it's also kind of fitting being back here because this is the house that I moved back to after I finished university. Yes, believe it or not, I got through university somehow. I still don't really know how. Pretty unbelievably, I graduated just over 3 years ago, which is literally insane. Yeah, I graduated in 2013 from Queen Mary, University of London, and I bagged myself an English literature degree. Got a 2-1, which I think pretty much classifies me as the most average 20-something of all time. If you don't believe me, here it is. Here's the cold hard evidence that I wore a silly hat and proved that I was quite clever. Fun fact about this photo, it was actually one of the hottest days on record, my graduation, and this wasn't actually the final photo that was taken. The final photo of me was distinctly redder, distinctly sweatier, and distinctly less makeup on, but I scanned it in and photoshopped it because I'm a true millennial. There you go. This proves that I went to university, and if this isn't a face that you want to take advice from, I mean, I don't know what you're looking for in life. So young and hopeful and full of potential. And now look at me. What you can't see is that I actually have polar bear pyjama bottoms on at the moment in my mum's house to film this video. Anyway, after all that rambling, I figured I should do another university video because you guys seem to really like when I talk about university, and I always get asked a lot of questions about university things. So I figured that today I'd talk about university to try and make it look like I'm kind of relevant and a bit organised. And rather than doing the usual, some amazing university advice to make sure you have the best time of your life, because there's a lot of that on here. You'll probably go elsewhere if you want shiny, polished advice. So instead, I thought I'd reveal to you things that no one actually ever tells you about university, which might kind of burst the bubble slightly. Your degree probably isn't what you thought you were signing up for, and you will spend a lot of the time feeling incredibly stupid and like an imposter. When I decided that I wanted to do English literature, I thought I'd be reading lots of classics and enjoying books that everybody talked about and ticking off a long list of books that I'd wanted to read for years and years. Actually, I ended up talking about philosophers and the third sex. I'd say I spent a large majority of my lectures and seminars thinking, please don't ask me a question, please don't ask me a question, please don't ask, because I never really knew what was happening. And from what I've heard from my friends who've all done a variety of different subjects, it's never quite what you think it is. And when they say it's a big jump from school and college, they really do mean that it's very different. Having gone to a school where I was kind of prescribed how to learn and how to pass exams on a very sort of straightforward level, I felt a bit like I was drowning a lot of the time. But I think that's kind of normal. Except the fact that you'll probably feel like the stupidest person in the room for a strong majority of your degree, and then I think you'll be fine. I can 99.9% guarantee that there will be a strange, mysterious foreign student in your flat who will never appear, ever. In my first year, I lived with, I think, maybe 6 other students. One of them was a guy from, I want to say China. Never saw him, ever, in a year. He had a rice cooker in his bedroom, so he never even used the kitchen. And I promise, I'm not exaggerating, in 10 months of living in that halls of residence, I never met him. This was a boy that lived 2 doors down from me. I never ever saw or heard him. But he was in there because he used to get his post. This is actually quite useful advice. No one will own a corkscrew. Literally no one. Everyone will come armed with 10 colanders, 2 sieves, enough cutlery for 6 people, a microwave, a toaster. No one owns a corkscrew. Take a corkscrew. It's pretty much guaranteed that you will feel lonely and homesick at some stage. I think everyone sets off to university having had it drilled into them that it's going to be the greatest time of their life and they're going to meet so many people and have so many new experiences that you won't even think about home, and your mum won't ever cross your mind, and their friends at home won't be anything compared to these new amazing people that you meet. But it's not always like that, especially if you're from somewhere like me, where you're from a tiny little town, everyone knows everybody, you've had the same friends since you were 6 years old. It's quite overwhelming being shoved into this brand new city with lots of very sociable people who all want to go out and get battered every night and have a great time. And I think it's fine to say that you probably will be homesick and that you probably will miss your mum and you'll probably want to ring her and be like, please come and get me, I don't like this, it's really scary. But I think it's important to kind of not cave into that too early. I think if you start feeling it on day 4 and then leave on day 5, I think that's a really bad idea. I think it's good for you to kind of sit and wait it out and see if it goes away, give it a while to kind of adjust to your new life and kind of challenge yourself a little bit and push yourself. Homesickness can be kind of really all-consuming and it can feel like the worst thing in the world, but I think it's really important to kind of ride it out a little bit, ride the wave and kind of see if it does go away. I'd recommend taking loads of kind of like home comforts with you to your bedroom. If you've got a favourite blanket, I took my favourite toy. I mean, he's here, obviously he came to university. But also remember that everyone will get it at some point and you're not a loser if you do miss home. You can do a lot more when drunk than you ever thought possible. It's honestly quite impressive sometimes. Fire alarms at 3 AM are actually a thing that genuinely happens. It is the most horrible and kind of like sickening feeling being woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning, probably after you've been for a couple of drinks the night before, by a fire alarm. A very loud communal fire alarm too. I remember one night being woken up feeling like I'd had a stroke and a heart attack combined, probably at about 4 o'clock in the morning, having to shove on like a really embarrassing fluffy dressing gown and like big fluffy socks and like stumble outside into the gardens and just like stand there like this. Everyone's kind of in the same boat with you, although I do remember feeling like a bit of a weirdo because I was in this dressing gown and slippers just like, oh my god, I'm so tired, while everyone else was just like in jeans and t-shirts and just like being really normal. I think I must have had an early night while everyone else was going out. If there's one thing that university teaches you, it's that nothing ever really needs ironing. Nothing ever needs to be ironed, ever. I did take an iron with me, I definitely did take one into first year, but I don't think I ever used it, and I still don't really iron now, but especially at uni, I don't think I ironed a single thing. On a similar note, laundry will become the actual bane of your life. No longer can you just shove your dirty undies and your old sweaty t-shirts into the laundry basket and hope that your mum does them for you. You actually have to do that for yourself, but it's not just going down into the kitchen and shoving them in the machine and pressing the button. You have to take it all in a giant bag to a separate building and find the washing machines. I used to wait until I was literally like out of underwear because it was such a faff to do. You know, I'd be down to like the emergency pants and then be like, fine, I'll go and do some laundry. And then you have to actually pay to use the machines. You have to have your own laundry stuff, you have to pay more for the tumble dryers. You will never have appreciated your mum so much in your entire life. Sure, everyone talks about the fact that you will meet people that you'll instantly connect with and be best friends with and have all these things in common with, but I can also guarantee that there will be people in your lectures and seminars who are the actual worst humans that you've ever met. Just honestly awful. I reckon I hated a solid 80% of people I was on my course with. There's just hardly anybody normal. I think that's the one thing that university taught me the most, is that I hate a lot of people. Unless you're from London itself, like central London, no one will have heard where you're from. I gave up trying to explain where the Wirral was in the end and just started saying Liverpool. I think that's what most people do. I think they tend to go for the city that's closest to wherever they're from. But if you say your actual hometown or kind of like small area that you're actually from, no one will have ever heard of it. Sorry to break it to you, but the chances of you actually having lots of sex are very slim. From what I saw, a lot of people were either still going out with their boyfriends and girlfriends from school and then going through a messy breakup and then never wanting to sleep with anyone ever again. Or they were trying really hard to have lots of sex and not getting very far because they're still awkward 18-year-olds that don't really know how to get anywhere in life. Societies will exist for everything that you can possibly think of, and an alarming amount of people take part in cosplay. I'm kidding, of course. If you have an interest like cosplay and it's something that you're interested in, more power to you. Landlords of student houses will not give less of a shit about you or anything that you have to complain about or need changing. Even if there's actual mushrooms growing inside your house. Even if your kitchen floor has exploded and you're walking across dirt, if your oven doesn't work, if your shower doesn't work, if there's mold, if there's damp, your landlord doesn't care. But it's so much of a faff to move house and lug all your stuff around into another house where there might be a slightly better landlord that it's not worth it. So you'll put up with living with mushrooms and mold and dirt and damp and weird creatures just so that you don't have to move. You probably won't stay friends with anybody that you meet in Freshers Week. I literally thought when I moved into my student flat that the people that I lived with were going to be my best mates. A couple of the girls that I met around and about were the greatest people that I've ever met in my life, and that we were going to be BFFs for life. But I think maybe by about the Thursday, I never spoke to them again. Some people are really lucky and do kind of get put into student halls with people that they just naturally get along with. They form a group. This happened to one of my best mates. Like, they just all clicked instantly and they were best mates, and they still are. Like, that's amazing. If that happens to you, I could not be more gel. It took me a long time to find people at uni that I actually wanted to be mates with, rather than just, I'll hang out with you. It wasn't until I got into blogging, actually, and I started hanging out with girls that do blogging, that I actually found some people who I really got on with, which is probably an indicator that when people say join clubs and join societies and get involved with things that you enjoy, probably an indicator that that's actually quite a good idea. The most common conversation that you will have in the start of university is the bread roll debacle. The bread roll debate. Is it a roll? Is it a bap? Is it a batch? Is it a barm? Is it something else? You might all be from separate ends of the country, but the one thing that you can agree on is that you will never agree on the bread roll debate. And if you're looking for a good icebreaker to meet new pals with in Freshers Week, you can thank me for that little conversation starter. You are not a good cook just because you make pasta with Domino sauce. Sorry. And last but not least, you will probably never use your degree after university for anything. Other than occasionally getting a question right on University Challenge, which is the best feeling ever. Other than that, you can forget everything that you've learned, really. If you are heading off to uni in the next couple of weeks, I hope you have a magical time. There's a couple of other videos dotted around my channel about university stuff, like things you need to make sure you don't forget, and kind of like my experience with uni. So have a rummage and check out those if you fancy. Good luck if you are heading off soon. I hope it all goes well. Don't forget a corkscrew. The one important solid bit of advice that I can offer. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.